Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the MrWarrenHayes Show. I, of course, am the man that you all know quite remotely as Mr. Warren Hayes. There is a certain level of remote, right? I mean, I'm not exactly next to you, and we're not like sharing the same common space. It's like I'm that employee that in the Zoom calls, right? That just hangs around kind of thing. And it's like, I know this guy, because he's always in the calls. Yeah. Obviously he works here kind of thing. But I don't know. I don't know exactly what he does. I know he's here. He seems, agreeable enough. That's the role I like to think that I fill in your lives, folks. That's pretty much it. I'm just a guy in a Zoom call. Could be worse. But hey, look, we're here to talk about professional wrestling here today, November 25, 2021, year of our Lord. Welcome. And happy Easter. Okay, Warren, we could just start all of this again. Happy Thanksgiving to all of my American followers, chums, pals, subscribers, members, confidants. I don't know how many there are out there. But thank you for being here. Thank you for taking time. If you are in the U.S. and you are enjoying your Turkey Day, thank you for taking some time and joining me here tonight to just be like on the hanging around the Mr. MrWarrenHayes stuff. What may I be so bold, if you don't mind my saying, to everyone right now in the U.S. doing the Thanksgiving and then tuning into Mr. MrWarrenHayes, may I be so bold as to say, why not kick this off here tonight with kick off a tradition, a new tradition here. Okay, let's start that off. New tradition in your household. Everyone gets the nice big Thanksgiving dinner. Everyone enjoys it. They sit down, open up the belts because they're full, and everyone's sort of like having coffee or an Armagnac, something, a digestif afterwards. Then everyone sits around and they turn to the computer screen. And everyone watches together the MrWarrenHayes Show. Why don't you make that your new family tradition? Right? Traditions are meant to be renewed. Right? You can't always stick with the same all the time. So I'm looking at you, Robert Larry. Good to see you here, who's in the chat with us tonight. And Kelly Tonjas as well. Nice to see you. I'm expecting you all to get to get this new tradition going here. I also want to say hello to Justin Firestein, who's joining us live here on the chat here on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes, where we record live, of course. So Justin, nice to see you. Anakin JMT, good to see you, sir. Phantomark82, our boy Ben. youtube.com/Phantomark82, facebook.com/Phantomark82. If you like music, chillwave, synthwave, just relaxing, full of 80s goodness, that's where you head to. Support our boy. DGMC is here as well. Nice to see you. We've got John Bello. Nice to see you, John Bello. Good to have you with us. Heather is here as well. 5th generation Carney Joseph with it. Nice to see everyone. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I know that most of my audience, especially for the live shows, is based in the United States. So I'm pleasantly surprised to see everyone, to see so many people here tonight. I wasn't expecting that big a crowd. So thank you for. I mean, of course I'm joking with the tradition thing, unless you really want to do it. But of course I'm joking with the tradition thing. I really appreciate you guys coming over on Thanksgiving to hang out, listen to me ramble about wrestling. And you know what? Look, I'm Canadian. I don't do the Thanksgiving thing, and even in Canada, Thanksgiving isn't exactly quite the same. But I will say this: I'll take the opportunity to just say how grateful I am for each and every one of you who come in live, who watch the video, the on demand, or listen to the podcast afterwards. And I'm especially thankful to everyone who is a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel as well, showing support month after month. You guys are fantastic, and I really sincerely appreciate it. I appreciate every view. I appreciate every interaction, every chat you drop in the live chat, every comment, every tweet, anything. Everyone in the Discord, thank you. Thank you so much. Because, just a guy who, wants to, has opinions. Just, it's like, hey, I think I could interest people with my opinion, just going out there. But mostly, my goal is to create a sense of community, like just bring people together around the love of wrestling. Hopefully people who love wrestling as much as I do. And that's all I want. And, to have you guys sort of validate that and come on over and hang around and seeing these regulars all the time, these names that I recognize, it's very humbling. Every single time. I never take you guys for granted. I'm always taken aback. So thank you. Thank you for everything. And I'm very, very grateful for you all. Let's see. Well, I'm also grateful for bell2bells.com, which is your women's wrestling wire, right? Women's wrestling is what we talk about over on bell2bells.com, BELLTOBELLES.com. We've got all sorts of interviews as well, video, audio interviews with women across all the spheres of professional wrestling over on youtube.com/bell2bells. And you can follow us on Twitter as well at bell2bells. I mentioned it. There's a Discord. Join the Discord. It's a good place to talk about wrestling. It's a good place to hang out during live shows. Very active live chats. People enjoy it quite a bit. Come on over. You are more than welcome. Link is in the description. The chat bots should pop up. Pop it up. Look, it's already in the chat right now. The link to the description. So please go right ahead. Join us in the Discord. It would be our pleasure to have you. The pleasure would be all yours. You can also look, here's a couple of ways where you can show support for the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. I talked about it, but leave a like on the video. That stuff is fantastic. Leave a review or a subscription wherever you listen to your podcast. Any kind of action that you can do there to show some appreciation for what I do, that always helps. It helps all the algorithms. That stuff helps. If you want to become a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel, please do show a little support there, and I appreciate it. Your monthly support is just fantastic. And you also get access to Warren's Off the Clock, which is the post stream that I do. And I was going to say every Thursday night, but tonight is an exception. I have some work related, some shoot work. My real job. I have some things that I have to handle with that fairly early tomorrow morning. And as I said, I do the post show immediately after when I'm done here. So I'm not done before midnight, sometimes 12:30, depending on the post show. So tonight, I sort of announced to the members, we were hanging around and I was like, well, you know what? I'm not going to be doing it tonight, but the members sort of got together. Look, here's what's going to happen. The inmates are going to be running the asylum tonight on the post show. Because our boy, our mod here in the chat, Anakin JMT, longtime supporter of the show, good guy, is going to be hosting the very first Members Go Wild post show. I don't know if that's how we're going to call it. Whatever. I don't know. But that's what we're doing tonight. So, and Anakin is going to be streaming live right here on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes for members only. And you bring your topics. That's what Anakin is discussing tonight. It's like, look, I don't know. Just everyone bring your topics and we'll discuss it. You can discuss it in the live chat here on YouTube. If you join the Discord, you can chat live there in the Discord, or you can pop in. Anakin will be taking live direct calls as well directly in the stream. So oh no, you're a Discord mod. That's right. Not here yet. Anakin is a Discord mod, but he's the mod of my heart. Or something. But do join us if you're a member tonight. It should be a lot of fun. When I say us, I mean Anakin and the rest. I will be bowing out gracefully tonight, just because, obligations. But it's still going to be a great time. I am absolutely convinced. And you can also drop us a super chat as well. And I will read said super chat live and on the air, such as a super chat left by Anakin. There you go. See, we're talking. It's Anakin's show. Like I just do whatever Anakin does. Tells me to do. Right. I just read the prompts. It's the MrWarrenHayes show featuring Anakin JMT. But thank you for the super chat. He says, best wishes to JR, Jim Ross, who just tweeted out that his cancer treatments start Monday, so he'll step away from commentary and hopefully be returning for the December 29 Dynamite. Thank you for that, Anakin. I guess it's fairly breaking news because I didn't see it before I was popping in. That sucks, but thankfully he is getting into treatment, so fingers crossed that everything will get fixed up. Cancer's awful. It's one of the most awful things ever, and it sucks that anyone has to go through that. I feel for JR, but I wish him only the best, speedy recovery. Regardless of what I think of his level of commentary, I hope he gets back on his feet, healthy, and is able to perform his duties once again. That's it. Like, just get well soon, JR. I'm excited to see you back on top of things once again. I really am. We've got Carlos, who's joined us in the chat. How you doing, Carlos? Nice to see you. The Nick Nutter here as well, and AK Germany 96. Look at all these fine individuals who are here and ready and willing to get started with the weekly wrestling inspection. Woo! In case you're wondering, tonight we are enjoying some root beer here over here in Canada, so I am excited. I didn't put out the poll tonight because I kind of have I didn't put out a poll asking the live viewers, what I should start talking about, in what order, so on and so forth. I kind of have an order set up tonight. I know how I want to tackle things this evening. I appreciate you all. Don't worry. There will be multiple times where I will ask for your opinion, but tonight I'm like, nah, I'm going straight with it, and we're going to start by recapping the WWE pay-per-view event known as Survivor Series. Survivor Series 2021. The stakes could not have been lower this past Sunday on the award-winning WWE Peacock network. My God, man. What a boring ass show it was. And it really was. And I think I think I'll go even on top of that. Objectively speaking, WWE SmackDown, Jesus Christ, WWE Survivor Series 2021 was objectively a bad wrestling show. I really think it was. From top to bottom, from the performers to the matches, I should say, to the audience, nothing worked. Let's talk about it a little bit, I guess. On the pre-show, we had Shinsuke Nakamura losing, I should say, to Damian Priest, Intercontinental Champion versus U.S. Champion. IC being Shinsuke, U.S. being Damian Priest. I don't think there's any surprise here that Shinsuke Nakamura lost, because I don't think WWE knows what they're doing with Shinsuke anymore. I don't think they care. And clearly they have more interest in Damian Priest, right? They have more interest in Damian Priest regardless, so it was kind of... But here's the thing. Something came to me. It sort of dawned on me, and maybe someone else has come up with this somewhere, and hopefully it was that. I'm sort of wondering, because for the past couple of weeks, right, Damian Priest has this dark place that he goes to, right? At some point, like he's all smiles and charisma and going, oh yeah, Shin did win by DQ. Excuse me, I agree. I like, look, it's the pre-show, whatever. And the Damian Priest basically goes, he goes to this dark place and which is kind of, I think it's kind of corny. And sometimes I'm like, are they prepping him for the Fiend? Are they prepping Damian Priest to become the second coming of the Fiend here, that he's going to get imbued with Fiend energy and then he's going to get the Damian Priest version of the Fiend mask? But no, I'm going too far. But I'm like, what spurred this on? Why suddenly, when Damian Priest was absolutely fine being the Archer of Infamy, I don't know what an Archer of Infamy is. I don't know how you arch infamy. I'm not going to lie. But why all of a sudden this split personality? And do you want to bet? I'm ready. Look, I'm ready. I'm ready to bet. Hey, hang on a second. I don't have my sign up. Come on, man. It's my brand. Holy shit. What am I doing? This is what I'm thinking. I'm willing to bet 10 Canadian rubber bucks. Okay? I'm willing to bet 10 Canadian rubber bucks on this. That Vince was looking over his roster and was going, Damian Priest. And then he gets an idea and he calls Priest and he says, look, Damian Priest, I got an idea for you. Your name is Damian and Priest. Damian Priest. Your first name is the name of the son of the devil. And your last name is Priest. You're like a holy man. So you have this internal struggle between good and evil trying to take over. You're a holy guy, but you're also possessed by a demon. So you're struggling with those two dualities. Do you want to bet that is exactly what spurred this on? I am convinced. Someone booked me an interview with Vince McMahon, and I will only ask him that question. That is the only question I'll ask him. I won't ask about the Owen Hart stuff. I won't ask him about the Ring Boys scandal. I'll just ask him about did you come up with Damian Priest in this way? Yes or no? That's it. You're done, Vince. 5 minutes of your time. I'm convinced that's what it is. It's the only thing that explains it. Anyway, I've already put too much thought into this. The first match of the night, Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch. Actually, Becky Lynch defeating Charlotte Flair in a champion versus champion non-title match. And look, we're going to go ahead and say it. We're going to come right up. This was match of the night. It was the best match of the night. It's probably one of WWE's best matches of the year. And one of the reasons why this match was so good is because this was the only match on the card that had some heat. The only match that had anything close to some actual heat between the wrestlers, getting the fans excited. This was it. There was nothing else on the card that even came close to this. So it made it the only match that mattered, really? And boy, oh boy, did Becky and Charlotte wrestle like it mattered too. It was stiff. There was trash talking, disdain, dislike. Like, there was no feeling out period. They just started fighting. And that's what we wanted. And that's what we got. A fucking wrestling match is what we got. We got a fight that had lots of back and forth. Fantastic dramatic moments throughout the entire match. But that's because it's the only match that had heat, that was built with the feelings that there was legitimately something on the line here, that there was something to prove. I loved this match. And it kind of makes you sad to a degree. That the only way WWE, because look, let's be completely transparent with this. There wasn't another match on the card that generated this kind of attention. They were having Becky doing the rounds. They were having Charlotte doing the media rounds. And they were out there talking about this match, talking about their personal feud. So if you were wondering if we were getting worked at some point, yes, we were. We were 100% getting worked. I still think that this is something that was based in reality. I completely buy that Charlotte and Becky had a scuffle backstage a couple of weeks ago. Now, a month ago at this point, I lose track of time. That's the thing. And I'm convinced that WWE sort of looked at the situation, right? They sort of, look at all this, and they decided to lean into it. And creative was like, well, let's just lean into it. Ladies, we're gonna make. Are we gonna make some money together? And Becky and Charlotte, probably being the professionals that they are, maybe their relationship is a little strained. I can buy that. They're like, no, let's do it. Let's. I don't like her. She doesn't like me. Let's just have ourselves a hell of a match. And I can completely buy into WWE leaning into that. Now, the part where I'm saying is sad is that, isn't it sad that the only way WWE could come up with some interesting creative for anything on this card had to lean into a real life event? It had to lean into reality. Its own creative couldn't build up to its own creative could not build up to something as on fire or dramatic as this was. Nothing else on the card even came close. So I think, to me, it's a little damning once again of WWE creative maybe trying too hard, maybe trying a little too much. Focus on the simple things, the reasons why people fight, and there we go. And you're golden. I don't know what to tell you. But the end result was very, very entertaining. Now, there was a lot of discourse, right? Because there were reports before the pay-per-view that Charlotte and Becky were main eventing. And I tweeted out, I said, oh, that's cool. Of course, let the women main event. Absolutely. Then it was reported, oh, well, plans changed like last minute and Charlotte and Becky went on first. I'm like, cool. And they tore the house down straight off the bat. Now, I know a lot of people were very, very, very angry at this. They were oh, goodness gracious. They were so very angry at the women not main eventing, right? Now, this is what I want to posit unto ye, all right? I want to put this forward to you. I am of the belief that the opening match is just as important, if not more important, to a pay-per-view than the main event. Well, maybe not more important, but I think it's just as important. Let's not, okay, I'm going to dial it back a little bit. As it came out of my mouth, it's like, no, Warren, you're wrong. No, stop it, Warren. I think that there's something to be said about having a hot match to open up a pay-per-view, gets people excited, sets the tone, sets the mood. You get big babyface win, it's like, let's go win, let's do it. I'm like, okay. Now, let's think back at Survivor Series 2021. Do you think that if Becky and Charlotte were in the main event after the exact same events the exact same show, the exact same card happened in the same order otherwise, do you think that they would have shined as much as they did in the main event? And I would posit to say, no, I don't think it would have been as good, because the audience, the Barclays audience, was spent. They were done. They were bored out of their skull. There was nothing that Roman and Big E literally could have done outside of maybe blading, I don't know, like throwing themselves off of shit, that would have woke that crowd up. And because I think the crowd made the main event suffer. That's just me. And this is not taking anything away from Becky or Charlotte, who are exceptional talents, have fantastic chemistry, and gave a hell of a performance. I'm sure they would give another hell of a performance, but it would not have been as good because the crowd would not have been as hot for it. They opened up with it. The crowd was electric for it because of the heat, because of the people involved, because it was the first match. Boom. Lightning in a bottle. Fantastic. You have that same shit pay-per-view. You put the ladies on at the end. I don't think it's as good. I don't think it's as snappy and dynamic because the crowd energy won't be there. That's just me. But holy shit. What a great match, though. A fantastic match. I'm very, I don't know how much Becky and Charlotte really dislike each other. I don't, and I'm not going to pretend that I know. But I kind of feel like they're really leaning into it, and that's fine. That's what wrestling is. It's cool. I'm okay. You know what? We should be worked. We need to be worked. Wrestling is about working the fans. It's about working the audience, not treating you as marks, but working you. That's fine. And you should be okay to get worked. I like it when I get worked. Well, most of the time. I'm gonna straight up, the Kazuchika Okada back problems, that sort of pissed me off. That I got suckered into that. I was like, oh, I thought it was real. I didn't take the time really to think about it. But most of the time, absolutely most of the time, I'm okay being worked. If you're working me, you're doing something right. You're doing your job. It's just as simple as that. Do not fear being worked, folks, is what I'm saying. Oh, we've got people joining us. We got Diego Rafael Solis Rivera. Good to see you. Welcome to the chat, Diego. We also have Joe Poulin Jr. Joe from over at lovewrestling.ca. Good to see you, Joe. Welcome to the chat as well. We got Kiwi Rob is here. Good, nice to see you. And Kristen Ashley, the first lady of the MrWarrenHayes show. Yeah. I'm ruining my throat doing this song. I'm trying to hit notes that my throat has not been physically conceived to hit. Nice to see you, Kristen. Welcome. Nice to see you. And I'm thankful for you too. Oh, and Beep Boop is here as well. Welcome to the chat. So, let's see here. Let's just keep this going. Then we had the men's Survivor Series match. This was the yes, it was the Raw vs. SmackDown men's elimination match where Team Raw defeated Team SmackDown. And I'm sure you were all compelled and excited. You picked sides. You had to pick sides. Which team won? It was important. If there's one thing, okay, that we have to underscore here, one thing is that this Survivor Series match, the men's elimination match 2021, has proven to us that Kevin Owens is the smartest man in the room. Kevin Owens goes to the ring, sees all these little, this bickering, and Seth Rollins going, nyeh, 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 and then, what's his face, Finn Balor going, nyeh, 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 and who else was on that team? Bobby Lashley, nyeh, 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 nyeh. And Kevin Owens is like, you know what? I'm out of here. I'm not doing this match. Why would I do this match? There's nothing to this match. I gain nothing. All of you, all I'm seeing is you guys bitching at each other. Fuck this shit. And he hits the bricks. That is the smartest man in the room. A guy who gets it was like, this Raw stuff, this Survivor Series stuff means nothing. Pew, hits the bricks. Good for him. Kevin Owens is exactly like me. He's exactly like me. He looks around, he weighs the pros and cons. He says, all of these idiots are arguing at each other for something that has no value, no stakes. I'm gone. Jeez. And why did you have to protect both Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley? Why did both of them had to be counted out? Because that's what it is. It's like, oh, well, at least both guys are protected. But why at least? Why do you need to protect them on pay-per-view matches? Pay-per-view matches, if there's any place where you're like, there's got to be at least one guy, one person like has to take a fall here or whatever, it's on a pay-per-view. No reason to protect both guys. If you're going to protect both guys, don't put them in the match. They took Baby Champ out of match so that they could put Bobby Lashley instead, but then have Bobby Lashley just like disappear from the match or get counted out with Drew. I'm like, what's the point? This doesn't help anyone. It protects those guys, but no one gets over. No one gets over. No one gets a pin on Bobby Lashley. No one gets a pin on Drew. You're wasting an opportunity doing this stuff. It doesn't make sense to me. And why is Xavier Woods being booked like this? He's been the chief antagonist of Roman Reigns for the past couple of weeks, right? And then he loses this match where he has to kneel to Roman, and Roman has the coronation bullshit. Like, they're already stripping him being Woods, of his credibility, right? Like, straight off the bat, he wins the King of the Ring, but then it's like, oh, don't forget your role on the pecking order there, sonny boy. You're not on Roman's level at all. So we're gonna beat you down. We're gonna lose. And then when it comes to King of the Ring, yeah, you're just another jabron. You're gonna get set out. Who was he eliminated by? He was eliminated early on, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he was eliminated halfway through the match by Bobby Lashley. It's like, what's the point? What is the point? Because the thing with Woodsy right now, here's the big deal, the big thing. The thing with Xavier Woods right now is that he is a true to form babyface for this company. And all they would need to do to continue maintaining this babyface heat is putting him into mid-card feuds, because that's what he is. He's a mid-card guy doing the King of the Ring shtick, and have him beat some mid-card heels and just elevate his stock, and then eventually give him a shot at Roman. But of course everyone out the gate was like, well, Woods is not going to do this. What does it do? It sucks all the heat off of Woodsy's big win. They're not doing anything with it, and now he's in the King of the Ring, and he's a non-factor. So fuck this. Why get invested in any of these people? There's no point. A pure babyface. They've got a pure, organic babyface. Or maybe that's the problem. Now that I'm saying it out loud, maybe that's the problem. He's an organic babyface. Remember the last couple of organic babyfaces that WWE got? Boy, that sure took their plans and spun them around on their head, right? One Daniel Bryan, one Becky Lynch. They're probably sort of bringing this back, dragging this back, holding it back is what I'm trying to say, excuse me. so that Woods doesn't go off and explode and then becomes too large to handle because that's all the audience are cheering for. Then we stop getting CM Punk chants, we start getting Xavier Woods chants. Jesus. It's a weird one. You know, I don't understand what they're doing with Woods. This booking frustrated me. I don't get it. You want something else I didn't get? The Rock's 25th anniversary battle royale was won by fucking Omos. And this was a shit battle royal. Okay? This was a bad battle royal, folks. A bad one. Terrible. And Omos got like 50 million eliminations, but who cares? Who cares? People got excited at the end. You know why they got excited at the end? Because Ricochet was in there. People were like, oh, maybe even Ricochet. No. They're goofing on Ricochet. They're goofing on Montez Ford. They're goofing on Cesaro. They're goofing on AJ Styles with this shit. Omos is the guy, apparently. But, and here's the thing, can't even properly capitalize it the next night on Raw. Another tag team match. Because they know the guy's not ready. They know he's a dunce in the ring right now. He's not ready. He's green. He's not ready for the position they want him to be in. This is what's mind-boggling. All I see with them and Omos right now is I see them booking another Braun Strowman. This is exactly what I see happening, whereas Braun Strowman was actually athletic and had charisma. Those are the main two differences between Omos and Braun Strowman. This Omos thing is not going to work. It's not going to work. This is my official prediction. It's not going to work out. At some point, Vince is just going to get bored when Omos just stays the same. And he's going to push him down the card, and that'll be that. He's just another big man in a history of big men in WWE that are lacking in charisma, lacking in in-ring talent, and will eventually get exposed for it. But yet, they always go back to this shit. And what's baffling is that, look, for all of the shitty booking that Braun Strowman was involved in, because a lot of it was not his fault. A lot of it was outside of the guy's control. Braun was charismatic. Braun knew how to work a crowd. Braun was athletic, could actually perform moves. And Braun got himself over. Braun got over. How long has Omos been chat? See, okay, hang on. You know what? I'm pulling up a poll right now. Okay? And I want you guys to respond to this. Since we didn't do the the crowd itself. Very simple question. Is Omos over with the crowd? Yes or no? I'm running this poll right now. Let it run till I'm done talking about Survivor Series. How about that? It's wild. It's bizarre to me. It's so weird. Anyway, this sucked. Then we had the Raw versus SmackDown Tag Team Champions. RK Bro defeated the Usos. This was fine, I guess, but this, honestly, the Battle Royal sucked all the air out of the room. If Raw and if the Survivor Series match hadn't already done it, the Battle Royal just like completely deflated everyone, and this was the problem with the rest of the show, and it was lifeless. It lacked spice and life. That's what the problem was. I mean, the match was fine. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't bad. Randy Orton is apparently he is the WWE superstar who has wrestled on the highest number of pay-per-views in his entire career. I guess that's an accomplishment. Good for him. I have nothing to say about this match. There's nothing. It was fine, and that's about it. And when you're on a pay-per-view, you kind of want more than fine, especially on this one that's struggling. You know? Women's Survivor Series match came up next. Again, no heat. No heat. Just a bland-ass match that happened here until they actually decided to lean into the one person, or at least one of the people in this match that the people actually cared about. Now, here's the thing. I don't know how to start talking about this. I'll talk about the match first. In broad strokes. The way Sasha Banks, why would you eliminate Sasha Banks from this? Why would you eliminate Sasha Banks? When Sasha Banks is absolutely, I think you could, Sasha is absolutely an attention grabber. She is a favorite. People tune in to SmackDown on Friday nights to watch Sasha Banks. That's a fact. And I don't know why you would take her out midway in this match. A match that desperately needed this kind of star power, instant star power that Bianca Belair has, that Sasha has. And you take one half out of that equation and everything just goes. Yes, the audience was bored during this match, but they were bored since the Battle Royal. And it has nothing to do with the women in and about themselves. No heat, no story, no interest, and you take away one of the reasons people are actually watching this match, that are interested in it, being Sasha Banks. Bianca's still in it, good. But you will go back and watch this match and listen to it. When Sasha and Bianca are in the match together, crowd is alive, crowd is on their feet. You get any other type of combination, it's middling to no reaction at all, to dead, to just plain old dead. I don't know why you do that. I don't know why you get Sasha sort of dragged out in unceremonious fashion that people don't even go boo for. Like, it doesn't get them heated. It's just like, oh, they took Sasha out. And that's deflating. It's not good heat. It takes your energy away because there's nowhere to store that energy. You don't get excited because she's still in there. You don't get mad because she got eliminated. You're just like, oh, this is weird. This is dumb. This is dumb. Was it to protect Sasha? Probably. But why? If there's a place where these big stars can start taking falls and it's not that big a deal, it's in a fucking Survivor Series match. My God, man. And Liv Morgan. Now, this is the thing. I'm going to tell you, this is where they lost me. This is the point where I'm like, I do not understand anything anymore. I'm kaput, finito, dunzo. Liv Morgan. I've talked about Liv multiple times on this show. And I'm going to reiterate the bullet points, okay? I don't think Liv is the next coming of Minami Toyota. I don't think she is a brilliant wrestler. No. I think she has a connection with the crowd. She has natural babyface charisma. She is someone that you can put in a position as an underdog, like WWE loves to do, absolutely loves to do, and you can push her in that position, and she will gain the sympathy of the crowd very easily because of that's the energy that she has. Oh, we're gonna put her up against our number one heel, Becky Lynch, and make her a contender, right? If there was a moment that you could have used to heat up Liv Morgan, because don't kid yourselves, she's not hot right now. Cold as ice. She is another cog in the WWE, oh, it's your turn to go for the title now. No one earns title shots in WWE. No one works for them. It's a cycle. Oh, now it's your turn. So it's Liv's turn to go after a title. And we're at this weird junction where she should be heated up because she's going after Becky Lynch. You're going to have to make this credible. You're going to have to make this work. Make it smart. Make it people believe that she has a chance. But she goes into the Survivor Series match, she gets eliminated halfway through. She's actually the fourth person to be eliminated. And by Sasha on top of that, a horsewoman. What chance do I think Liv Morgan has against Becky Lynch? I'll tell you, none. This was a perfect opportunity for them to build Liv. Have her have a great showing. Have her fucking pin Sasha Banks. You know what? She pins Sasha Banks. You're like, oh my God, she pinned a horsewoman. She's on fire. She doesn't necessarily have to win, but she can put a couple of people away, or at least a big star, and hold her own. She's halfway out of the match, and she's the next contender for Becky's title. What the fuck? What the fuck is this? And I know that her pushes have been start-stop. They try, and then someone loses confidence and they pull her back. They try again. No. Is this what's happening again? No, because she had a promo thing with Becky on Monday, right? She had a bit of a pull-apart thing. Don't cry. Remember that shit? Again, I'm not trying to convey that Becky is not Becky, but that Liv is the greatest wrestler to ever walk the earth. I think she's fine, but that's about it. But I do believe that as far as WWE goes, she has qualities that they could use to actually build interest in an exciting match. But right now, Liv, no one believes Liv can do it because Liv is not winning any big matches. Why do we think she has a chance against Becky Lynch? Jesus Christ. The concept of heating up your wrestlers. It's not that hard. While your champion is challenging and going after someone, you have 2, 3, maybe other wrestlers on your card that are getting wins, that are securing wins, that are getting sneaky good, getting up there. It's not rocket science. It's not. And then Shotzi, here's another thing. Shotzi, who is in a feud with Sasha, is the one who gets KO'd and pinned by Bianca Belair to lose the match. So I'm like, is Shotzi a geek too? I don't understand. I don't understand any of this. The only thing I do understand is that WWE is making Bianca hot again, because I do believe they cooled her off. I really do believe they cooled her off. Started geeking her out. Like, oh, well, she's losing this match, can't get a proper title shot. She's losing everything. And now they're like, okay, let's heat her up again. At least they can do that right. But you can't always have the same people in the title pictures. It can't always be the same people that you're heating up. Oh my God. And then the big controversy, right, that came out of all of this was the crowd noise. Barclays was bored to tears. And again, not necessarily a problem with the women, and I don't think it is. I feel like any of the other matches at that position, number 4 on the card at this point, would have suffered 4 or 5, I think. Anyway, at the same position, would have suffered the same fate. Would have suffered through the wave and the self-promoting chants and the CM Punk chants. I'm convinced. I don't think they meant it was meant as a sign of disrespect to the women. I thought it was meant as a sign of, we are an audience that is bored right now. And we just need, you're not captivating our attention. And it is not a mark of disrespect towards the women. And I don't think that's how it should be taken, because none of the matches were getting any heat. The only match that did get heat was a women's match. So it's not a mark of disrespect against the women. And you guys know how much of an advocate I am for women's wrestling. If I felt this was the case, I'd be the first on this soapbox to tell you, you're right, but you're not here. This is a shot against a boring ass show that people paid mucho grande money to go and sit at and get bored out of their skull. This is, and you cannot blame an audience for that. I will never blame an audience. As long as they're not being racist or homophobic or misogynistic, I don't have a problem with audiences doing this shit, entertaining themselves when they're not being entertained. Because the only problem, the only person, the only people that can blame themselves here are WWE creative. It's the people who put this shit together. If an audience is bored, an audience should not be bored during your show. If it's bored, it's your problem. It is your fault. You don't send Becky Lynch on Monday night to chastise the crowd. You don't. That's stupid. That is not the audience's fault. If you as a company were able to provide an entertaining show, they would be cheering for the names of the people in the ring and not cheering for fucking CM Punk, some kind of ironic joke. I'm going to tell you another thing. I failed to do it, but I would love to go back and look at, everyone was complaining about the crowd noise, complaining about the people in the audience complaining. I would go back into each of those persons' tweets and reactions, listen to their podcasts to make damn sure that they were not part of the people who were saying, I can't wait for live crowds to be back during the Thunderdome era. I can't wait for audiences to be back. I'm excited to hear the crowds and so on and so forth. Because this is exactly what you had to expect with the return of live crowds. They are unpredictable. And they will do shit like this if they are not entertained. So if you cannot say on one hand, I'm excited for live crowds to be back, and then shit on live crowds when they're not doing exactly what you expect them to do. Otherwise, you're WWE, who then sends out Becky Lynch to say, you guys, you were sitting around doing your little chants and your little waves. You're exactly that. Chastising the fans for reacting in that way. It's bullshit. Yeah, I am not complaining. Again, nothing offensive, nothing degrading was spewed. That's a whole other story. People doing the wave because the pay-per-view is boring, go right ahead. I'd join in. If I was bored, I'd join in. And at this point, you can't shield yourself with the talent. You can't say, respect the talent. Don't do that. It's not the talent. Not the talent is the problem. The talent in the ring is immeasurable. World-class athletes. World top-of-the-line wrestlers. It's not the problem. It's the creative that accompanies it. It's the booking. If you want to protest what you're seeing live by doing a wave, go right ahead. Because that's what it is. I'm going to tell you on top of that, the Becky Lynch promo, on top of it, on Monday, made 0 sense to me. Made absolute 0 sense. And I'll tell you why. She comes out babyface. Becky Lynch comes out to cut a heel promo because she just came off of a big win on Charlotte Flair, who is an immeasurable heel, right? But, no, Becky's still a heel. Let's not forget that, right? And she starts doing her heel promo, but she's putting over the fact that the audience, that the women were busting their ass, and then she turns on the audience for doing chants, but she's the heel. Isn't that weird? The heel is telling you, y'all are full of crap, right? For doing this. Like, you can admonish the crowd if you want, but sending your heel to cut a heel promo on the crowd's reactions doesn't make sense. Because if you're supposed to not support the heel. You're not supposed to do what the heel is saying. So is WWE telling us, go out there and do the wave some more? Chant for CM Punk some more? Becky's the heel, right? Well, but Warren, she acts, everyone loves her. She's a babyface. Yet, they're booking her as a heel, and the promo she did there was to be a heel. You're not supposed to listen to the heel. And Becky Lynch is out saying, you guys are terrible for doing this. So is that double negatives? So was that cool then? It doesn't make sense. And it doesn't make sense because they don't know what to do with Becky. Because 2 weeks ago on the Raw Go Home show to Survivor Series, she cut a babyface promo on Charlotte, and in the same promo segment, Liv comes out and she cuts a heel promo on Liv, but people are like, they're still cheering for her because it's fucking Becky Lynch. I can't be the only one who sees that none of it makes sense. I can't be the only one who's still going like this. Why does WWE think it's a good idea to push Becky Lynch as a heel? I don't understand it. I don't. None of it makes sense. That leads us into the main event of Roman Reigns and Big E. I have two thoughts on this. First of all, at this point, the whole pay-per-view was lifeless, and there was nothing, as I said, there was nothing short out of maiming each other, literally, that would have got the crowd back into the show. The show was dead in the water. And crowd reactions are important to wrestlers. It does give them energy. It does give them juice to perform. It really does. It influences their performance. Crowd is dead. They're probably backstage. Everyone's grumbling. Vince is probably mad. Bruce is probably all puffy and red in the face going, and Roman and Big E have to go out to try and save the show. They did their best. The match was okay. The match was entertaining. But the fact that everything was dead, the performance was lifeless, the audience was dead. And you know what? Here's my second thought. Big E should have won. If WWE was serious about making Big E a top-tier star, have him pin Roman in a match that doesn't matter. in a match that has no repercussions. Excuse me. A match that has no repercussions on Roman Reigns. He still has his title. Big E is still on Raw, and Roman is on SmackDown, so you can keep them apart. It's not a big deal. But that would have made Big E. That would have made him. It would have been so good. I really think that would have been fantastic. Okay. It was an okay main event. It was fun. Like I said, it was just, I couldn't get, everything was just dead. Just dead. Two things also happened during this pay-per-view. One thing that happened was Vince McMahon arriving in a limousine with all the talent gathered around him like he's the supreme leader of North Korea to cheer him as he pops out of the limousine with a golden egg. And it's the most fucking random, weird Vince McMahon thing where he's like, I'm going to carry something. And then, he's just expecting everyone to go like, ooh, what do, and as if it all makes sense, but it doesn't, and I still maintain, and I know a lot of people I still maintain he brings out this egg and is acting like everyone should know what it is. Like it's some kind of iconic pop culture item that everyone upon seeing it goes, hey, it's the thing from the thing. It's like if he had come out with an ecto trap right? From Ghostbusters. People, it's the Thing from Ghostbusters, right? Now it's like, what is that shit? What is this? What is he carrying? What is that thing? You know, if he had come out with Indiana Jones's hat, people would be like, it's Indiana Jones's hat. They'd come out with, you know, E.T.'s finger. People are like, why does Vince McMahon have E.T.'s finger? Then again, why am I not surprised that Vince McMahon has E.T.'s severed finger? Anyway, and there's the egg, which of course leads into Raw the next night because someone steals the egg. Look, it is the most WWE thing. And then the next night you have the talent, which are just tearing the place apart like they're ECW wrestlers at a Travelodge. And shout out to anyone who gets that reference. I mean, it proves to me that wrestlers even today don't know how to conduct themselves in arenas when they're in public, when they're not wrestling. It's ridiculous. It was all dumb. The egg. Who gives a shit? $100 million egg. I was kind of hoping that Mia Yim had sneaked in to steal it. Then she starts her own wrestling company with everyone was fired. Can you imagine? You start up a wrestling company with all the 2021 releases. You got yourself a hell of a company. Except for Jackson Riker. That guy. And the other thing that happened or did not happen was The Rock showing up. Now, I will agree with everyone who is about to say, they never announced he was going to be there. They never said he was going to be there. Absolutely correct. You are 100% correct. I scoured the documentation. I looked through microfilm and documents, and I could not find... I didn't really, but you know what I'm trying to say. I did not find any instance where The Rock was overtly advertised for Survivor Series. And to the very end of that show, to the very end, I was sitting there like this. And I was getting in closer. Oh, you know, then they had the little credits, you know, the little copyright thing pop, and I'm like, are they gonna do a DIY? And is something gonna happen after the credits? Are they gonna do like on Takeover that one time? No, they're not. No, The Rock wasn't there. Now, I mean, I'm looking in the chat right now. There was no card subject to change because he hadn't been announced, so it's not even that. Here's the thing. If you're going to lean in that hard on The Rock's 25th, his debut at Survivor Series 25 years ago, and you name a battle royal after him, and you have your people doing press, going on fucking Jimmy Fallon, and they're talking about The Rock, about, well, he might be there. I've heard rumors that he's going to be there. That, folks... Whatever way you want to spin it, it is grade A, smoke and mirrors, good old-fashioned, bread-fed, carny bullshit is what that is. Because WWE has the out to say, we never advertised, but they sure gave you the impression that something was going to happen. They were teasing you. They were giving you that good old sauce there. They were going at you saying, well, The Rock's 25th. Oh, we're making a big thing for his pay-per-view, the Battle Royal, right? Oh, we're cross-promoting his movie. Oh, we've got the egg from that movie. All of that. All of it. As a reasonable human being, especially if you're a fan, as a reasonable human being, it is 100% okay for you to have said to yourself, God damn, The Rock's going to show up, isn't he? They're going to surprise us with The Rock, aren't they? And you are in the right to have believed that because that is how you were led on. You were led on, literally, like your crush in high school who has you do, who knows that you're infatuated with them, and they have you do their homework, they have you help cheat on exams and shit like that, knowing full well you'd like to get a piece of that, but they're not going to give it to you. They're just going to string you along. This is exactly what it is, and it is some good old-fashioned carny bullshit. Every single person who called out WWE on this behavior was right to do it, because it was absolute carny, 100% bullshit. Gonna do the compare and contrast here for a second. Give me an opportunity here. We had last August a show in Chicago, which from another company that had promised us the return, not even promised, that had hinted at the return of a long lost wrestling superstar. A sort of a mythical figure, if you will, right? And they didn't advertise it. They just really leaned into it hard. But they didn't advertise it. They didn't say he was going to be there. And yet he showed up. Now, what would have happened if the opposite had happened? Because I was there that night. I would have been mad as hell. Trust me. Because even though no one in AEW, Tony Khan never said CM Punk's going to be there. Cody Rhodes never said CM Punk's going to be there. Mickey Ruckus, I don't know why he'd say it, but neither did he say CM Punk's is going to be there. No one said he was going to be there, but everyone was expecting him to be, because that's what they leaned into. That's what they were leading you on, and they delivered. So that is the difference here. What WWE did is carny bullshit. It is a bait and switch. It is absolutely 100% carny bullshit. And I'm sorry for everyone who bought into it. I really do. Because it sucks. Because I was like, hey, he's going to show up. They're leaning way too hard into it. He absolutely is going to show up, but he didn't. He didn't. Everyone had the right to be pissed. Everyone had the right to be pissed. No wonder this audience was deflated. Hey, and by the way, and just to make sure, I had colleagues, chums, pals at Barclays on Sunday. And during the Battle Royal, I pull out my phone device and I text them, and I'm like, send him a message. I'm like, the crowd is coming off as really, really dead tonight on TV. Is it dead in Barclays right now? Then people respond back and said, absolutely, it's dead. The audience isn't into it. People are chanting, "We are awesome." It's like, crowd is dead as a doornail. But then I had even one person tell me, get this, that they were piping in crowd noise into the arena. Not just on TV. They were piping cheers into the arena. That is wild. That is proof of two things. Company doesn't trust its product, doesn't trust its fans either. Piping in crowd noise in the arena. Jesus Christ. Anyway, Survivor Series 2021 stunk. It stunk. Want to say hello to JK Schwal, who popped in, also left us a super chat. And thank you very much, JK Schwal. Saying that he's stopping in quick amidst his running around to say happy Thanksgiving or whatever Canadians celebrate out there. We worked today. We kept the economy running. We kept the world going today. North America was able to operate fully tonight because of us Canadians. But thank you very much for the super chat, JK Schwal, supporter, member of the MrWarrenHayes Show channel, who was telling us earlier that he's at the stopping over at the fundraiser for the Waukesha families from the tragedy last weekend And he also works, he being J.K. Schwal, also works in health services over there. So he's going in to spend time with his inpatient crew as well. Good on you, J.K. Schwal. Very important stuff. As I told you, as we in the Discord, there are things that are much more significant and important than pro wrestling, and especially a guy talking about pro wrestling. So good on you, sir. And thank you for dropping by. I really appreciate it. Thank you extremely much for the super chat. Hey, is Johnny Gargano leaving WWE? Chat. Okay, well, here. We're going to end this poll here, the Omos poll. We're going to pull that one up, and I'm going to pull up another poll here. Is Omos over with the crowd? 84% of you said no. 15% of you said yes. I would concur with that. I agree. I don't think he's over. I don't think he's over. So let's do another poll here. Let's have some fun tonight. Is Johnny Gargano leaving WWE this year? Well, maybe not this year. Leaving at the end of his contract. Yes or no? There we go. Pop that little poll here in the chat. Because it's been reported, right, that Johnny Gargano has signed a week's extension, a 1 week extension to his contract to do War Games. I don't know why, because War Games is going to blow this year. But yeah, apparently that's what's going on. Another indication that perhaps he might be on his way out of the company. There's a lot of rumors. There's a lot of rumors regarding that. Him, Kevin Owens as well. Very well rumored. Lots of reports going on around that. Man, I hope Johnny Gargano leaves the company. Johnny Gargano has been one of my favorite WWE performers. You know what? We haven't, and look, I'm wearing the hat. I just realized he's one of these performers, like a couple of years ago when he really was, Johnny Takeover and was on top of the game, and he was just tearing down the house, takeover after takeover, and having these great matches. I remember having discussions with people and being on the Fightful shows and saying, Johnny Gargano is a guy I want to see mix up with the best in New Japan. I would love to see an Okada versus Johnny Gargano match. Johnny Gargano is one of the absolute best workers WWE has on their entire roster. But they're not letting him go. They're not, and especially not in this 2.0 environment. He's not going to be able to go back to the Johnny of old. Absolutely not. Now, the question is, does AEW, you know what? He'd probably do well in AEW. That's the thing. And he'd bring a lot of star power. And I think we would rekindle with the Johnny Gargano of old, where it's just like, look at this guy having just absolutely insane banger matches where he doesn't have to do one of these after a near fall. I'm excited to see what the future holds for Johnny Gargano. I will not blame him if he decides to stay. Candice, pregnant, child coming up. I'm sure they were smart with their money. These are independent. These are wrestlers that came from the independent circuit. I am convinced that they know the value of money, probably stockpiled. I'm sure they're fine. But I wouldn't blame him if he wants to say, look, you know what? I'm just going to hang on to the job security for another couple of years kind of thing. And I can get behind that. I don't know if he goes to AEW. I'm just saying, he'd fit in. He'd be great there. An indie run for Johnny Gargano would be fantastic. Put him in give me Johnny Gargano versus Hiromu Takahashi. They're in the same weight range, right? What does Johnny Gargano build at? Let me take a look here. As far as weight goes. Let me see here. Johnny Gargano is billed at 198 pounds, so he's a junior. He could go to New Japan. Best is Super Juniors. There you go. And I'd be excited for it. And you know what? I challenge you to not be excited for that. That'd be great too. But regardless, I don't think he stays with WWE. That's my gut. But I could be wrong. And Swiss Roll Chris, good to see you, poses a fantastic question in the chat. Is it job security, though, to work for WWE these days? Fantastic point. You're absolutely right. You know what? You're probably right. It's not. It's absolutely not. I don't even think it's a consideration anymore to say, like, well, at least I get a secure paycheck. I get a real... Because we've seen it. You sign, and 3 weeks later, it's like, hit the bricks. Not a bad point. Not a bad point. I'm going to close up the poll here regarding Johnny Gargano. 83% of you think that he's leaving WWE at the end of this. I concur. Are we ready to talk about some AEW? Goddamn right we are. Let's start with Rampage last week. Hey, you know what? Here's a hot take for you. I thought Rampage last Friday sucked. How about that? I didn't think it was good. It is officially the first edition of Rampage where I'm like, I didn't care for this. I thought it was a very middling affair. Maybe sucked is hard. It was middling. It wasn't very good. You know? Someone has to explain to me, what the fuck are they doing booking Billy Gunn like he's fucking Brock Lesnar in the year of our Lord 2021? And they did this. This exact same type of booking with Billy Gunn, and I'm trying to remember, at a Battle Royal. And I'm trying to remember which one. And off the top of my head, I can't. But they did the exact same type of booking with Billy Gunn that they did with Darby at that Battle Royal. And he's tossing fools and he's no-selling. And I'm like, really? Really? This is what... And he's tossing Darby around like he's a sack of beans. I'm like, what? And he's no-selling Darby's offense. And I'm not a moron. I understand. Billy Gunn is bigger than Darby. He's such a big guy. He's got real big muscles, Warren. He's got bigger muscles than you, Warren. Yes, he's got bigger muscles than me. The Doberman across the street has bigger muscles than me. That's not the point. The thing here is that I end up looking at this match, looking at Darby, who is a superstar in the company. Like a true to form, number one, top tier star in the company. And he's fighting the father of the Jabron squad. Oh, they've been winning on Dark. They've been winning on Dark, exactly. That's the point. A guy who has done nothing of value, right? And suddenly, he's standing toe to toe with one of the hot prospects of the company, and he's no selling shit, and he's dominating through the entire match. I'm like, what the fuck am I looking at? What is this shit? I don't want to see Billy Gunn do this. You know what? Sting has wrestled more vulnerable in matches than Billy Gunn has, and Sting is a legitimate legend. He is a guy, he is an icon in this business. His presence alone is worth is priceless. That's what it's worth. It's priceless. Billy Gunn's claim to fame is the ass man gimmick. And then disappearing for years. And then suddenly coming back to get his sons over. Fuck off. It took me out. It took me out of Rampage straight off the bat. Because at some point, because here's the thing, this is the delicate balance sometimes that comes with pro wrestling, right? Is that yes, in a shoot fight, in a real deal fight, Darby Allin doesn't just like jump all over Billy Gunn and punk him out. Absolutely. Billy Gunn he's big. He's a jock. But this is pro wrestling, and the reality of it can be suspended for a little thing called push and superstardom, right? There's no way. I don't understand this booking at all. I really do not understand this booking, how they booked this match at all. It makes no sense to me. For that long, it lasted over a commercial on top of that. It was like, hang on a second. It was an 8-minute match. 8 minutes and 37 seconds according to cagematch.net. 8-minute match where Darby gets creamed. Sure, they continue his gimmick where he takes all the punishment and he bounces back. He's resilient. Okay, sure. But there are other people on this card outside of Billy Gunn that can make a convincing case as someone fresh, a huge powerhouse that could toss Darby Allin around. I don't know, man. It's weird to me. Plus, they never did the payoff for the tall Paul shit. I don't get it. Jade Cargill defeated Red Velvet to advance in the AEW TBS title tournament. She's now in the semifinals. This wasn't great. And as much as I was excited for it, I'm rooting for Red Velvet. I still think Red Velvet is great, and I'm rooting for Jade because I want Jade to be good. This was Jade's first really long singles match, right? I think we had checked this out. Or her second. No, I think it's her first. At 9 minutes, let me double check here. I've got it. I've got the stats right here. Let's pull up her matches. In a singles match, right? We're talking singles. Lots of squashes. 532 against Jade Cargill on Dynamite. 734 against Red. So at 9 minutes, this is Jade's longest singles match. Now, if this was meant as a test to see if Jade could go long in a match, I think she passes, but barely. Like, I don't think it's a rousing success. I think she gets like a C-, because she was capable. She didn't do anything egregiously bad. It wasn't a horrible match, but her weaknesses are exposed. And Red, unfortunately, who I find who has been excellent in working off of Jade's strengths to cover her weaknesses, couldn't quite do the job here. And there were some miscommunications, some mistimings, and it sucks because I was really rooting for this match to be exciting because of the history that these two have. Because there is history, and AEW was leaning into the history leading into this match, which got me excited for it. Because I'm like, yes, we have actual history between two women on the roster. Let's lean into it. Let's make it happen. Let's do it. Jade is not ready for the big spots. And I'm going to tell you, if their plan originally was to put let me start over. If the plan up until this match was to put the TBS title on Jade, which I think there's a compelling case to be made for, you have to, at the very least, expect Tony Khan sit down, open, get those sheets of paper back, and start scribbling on some more and thinking of another outcome. Because I don't think Jade is ready to be in a spot where she has to carry people through a match. She clearly needs to be guided more, which is fine. Don't get me wrong. I keep saying again and again and again, the only real way anyone gets any experience in a wrestling match is by wrestling matches. And especially if you do it on live television. I mean, that's do it. Get good, as the gamers say. Get good. And that's the only way you do improve, to be in these high pressure situations. Again, this wasn't a bad match, but it exposes some things. It exposed some things about Jade. Confirmed some things that, yes, she has the charisma, she has the stars, she has the attitude, she has the sass, she has the presence, she has the look. She has all the meanings, all the makings of being a huge star in AEW, except that as far as wrestling goes, she's not quite there yet. And there are women on this roster right now who are leagues ahead of her. Leagues. Not a knock on her. This is how she's being pushed. This is how AEW is positioning her in a bit of an ungrateful situation. So we'll see how things develop moving forward. But if Jade can't hang in a 9-minute match with someone who she has wrestled multiple times against, well, at least twice, right? And has charisma with, because I remember distinctly the first singles match that Jade had against Red was very good. I was entertained. But you could tell, like, Jade was doing a lot of the heavy lifting, masking a lot of stuff, and that's cool. That's part of the game. That's happened multiple times in wrestling. Not a knock. I do want Jade Cargill to succeed. I want it to be great. I want her to be the next big thing. Why not? And then Dino 210 defeated Adam Cole and Bobby Fish. Don't get me wrong, it was a fun main event. It was a fun main event, but we just saw an offshoot of that on at Full Gear, right? And I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of done with this dynamic that they have going with, the Elite and Bobby Fish and Adam Cole and Dino 210 and Christian. I'm kind of done with that. It happened again this week, and now we're moving into more matches in this little formation. It's like, okay, let's move along here. I'm good. I think we've gone over everything here. We can probably move on to something else. And if it's Christian Cage turning on Jungle Boy, please, let's do it. Let's go ahead, freshen this one up. All right. I think we're good at this point. So Rampage, didn't do it for me on Friday. It really didn't. AEW last night. Oh, are we ready? Are we? Okay, here's another poll. Okay, I want to pull this up here before I start anything. Okay, so rate how much you liked the CM Punk MJF promo battle. Let's call it that. Okay. And I'm going to put in on a scale of 5 to 1 or 1 to 5, and 5 being excellent. You absolutely loved it. And 1, I can only do 1 to 4. Sorry. So it's going to be from 4 to 1. So 4 stars. I can't put, there's only 4 options that you can put in on YouTube polls. So, okay, so 4 stars, 3 stars, 2 stars, or 1 star. All right, you tell, as I'm chatting about it, I'm curious. I'd like to know what you guys think. I'm always curious to know what I'm really excited to see what you guys think about this kind of stuff. Because that's how we started last night. And CM Punk coming out for his big match against QT Marshall, right? And hits the ring, gets interrupted by MJF, who, doesn't let the match start. MJF comes down to the ring, and they just go at each other verbally for over 20 minutes. Here are some highlights. MJF tells CM Punk, because there's some gold in here. There's some very, very, very good stuff. Made me chuckle, made me go, oh my God. I enjoyed it overall. There's some lines here. MJF tells CM Punk that he never thought a straight edge man could look so much like a meth addict. MJF says that he doesn't like, he takes offense to the fact that he doesn't like that CM Punk and all the people that he says, oh, I want to wrestle this guy and that guy. MJF's name is never brought up. So MJF says, I'm going to finish you like I finished I'm going to finish you like your UFC career. CM Punk said that MJF stood for my jealous fan. I'm like, it's a little weak, Phil. He says he shut up MJF, this king on the microphone, last week without even saying a single word. He says he thinks he's somebody, that what he does is revolutionary, but in reality, he is a less famous Miz, which generated some Miz chants from the audience, which was pretty dope. I kind of popped for that. MJF says CM Punk's breath smells like shit because he's been kissing so much ass lately. And I'm like, that's kind of weak, Maxwell. Does the robotic promo guy, where it's like Phil, enter city name here. Anyway. Starts comparing him to John Cena. Said he's might as well being out here preaching hustle, loyalty, and respect. That's always gonna. He asked CM Punk, MJF did, if he came back because he was too busy writing comics nobody read and acting in movies nobody saw. MJF says Punk's whole career, he's been nothing more than second best. Whether to the you can't see me man or the king of kings, he's always been second best. Probably my favorite line of this entire scenario. And there's Rosie O'Donnell stuff, of course. CM Punk says, you keep saying you're a pillar, but you don't even realize that you've been replaced by Britt Baker. And the only way that MJF is going to be the man around here is if he lasts long enough for Tony Khan to have a daughter he can marry, which that's a pretty fantastic line in and about itself too. And then that led us into the QT match. Keep dropping them, folks. Look at that in the poll here. A lot of people giving it 4 stars. 70% of the people joining us right now are giving the promo a 4 stars, the top rating. I enjoyed it, and I thought it was good. I thought it was thoroughly enjoying. I thought it was absolutely enjoying. Look, this is the thing that a lot of people were excited to see when CM Punk came back. It was like promo battles with MJF. Right now, and myself, I'm like, wait till these two start going at each other on the mic. Great stuff, It's like, this is, really excited for it. And that's what they delivered. It was good. A lot of the stuff that I read off here was gold. Not everything, but a lot of it. But it was 20 minutes of talk. And honestly, I can't get behind that. I was at a point where I'm like, look, I am convinced. I'd have to go back and check, but I am sure that not even CM Punk's return promo was this long. I think his entrance was very long because they led into commercial. Because again, I was at the arena, so I don't know what exactly was being broadcast, but I don't even think like the entirety of CM Punk's return promo was an entire 20-minute segment, and that was special. I feel that, it's warranted. Here, I can't help but think that this promo suffered from bloat at some points, where the really cutting, sharp one-liners were just lost in a whole bunch of other stuff which wasn't as good, and just made them lost in this sea of, this sea of nothing. Not of nothing, but of lines and one-liners, and it sort of lost somewhat of an edge ultimately when you stand back and you listen to everything, kind of like what I prattled off here. There's some good lines here, but ultimately what stands out is these two guys talking and trading barbs, but nothing that you're memorable, legendary. I feel like this really could have been halved, could have been chopped down easily by 10 minutes. There's stuff we didn't need, like the Rosie O'Donnell stuff. And that's honestly, it's played out when it comes in regards to MJF and stuff. And I don't even think it's even that cutting anymore. It's like, yes, he was on Rosie O'Donnell when he was a kid. And we've already, we did the point and laugh stuff at Maxwell's, and let's move on kind of thing. I also think that, there, for all the great lines, there were some that weren't as great, like, the "My Jealous Fan" line, and you have your poster up on your wall. There's not everything was as, it really did feel at some point that we have to fill time. We have to put as much stuff as we can in here because they're giving us 20 minutes kind of thing. Or a tighter 10 minutes. And then you know what? Have them promo battle again next week. Leave the people wanting more. Right? Nice, taut, well put together 10 minutes. Next week, give us another one. And it was fun. Ultimately, I leave this going, you know what? It wasn't bad. But I can't get behind a wrestling show starting with a 20-minute talk segment. I can't. I just can't. And this is the second week in a row that Dynamite starts with a talk segment to begin with. Last week, I'm like, I get it. Hangman Page first promo coming out, and then you get the great Brian Danielson stuff. and I'm like, cool. Cool stuff. That's fine. I understand. This I didn't quite. There was no reason, quite frankly, for this not to start with the QT match. I would be a little shorter and then have MJF come out and then do the promo battle. A bit of a shorter promo battle. Then I'd be like, this, okay, I get it. This is good. I don't know why we did the opposite. Because there was no interest in the QT Marshall match after. QT Marshall. There's no interest in it. And there was barely any interest in it to begin with. Outside of, hey, CM Punk is wrestling on Dynamite. Cool. He's wrestling QT Marshall. Okay. No one, who was excited? Who was like, yeah, let's do it. Not exactly a draw here. No disrespect to QT Marshall. So to have it follow such a lengthy segment that got the crowd into it, don't get me wrong, they ate it up. Then they have to sit through the match here with QT Marshall. It sort of brought the energy down at the same time. I didn't care for it. I don't think it was all that great. It was good. I think there was a good 10-minute fast-acting dynamic promo. There was a good 10-minute promo in that 20-minute segment that you could have added on top there with a... you could have added as well what's the word I'm looking for? You could have added the match as well. Just have the match. Have the goddamn match. Then do the promo segment, and I wouldn't be here bitching. Well, you guys know, I I can't stand wrestling matches that start with anything else than a wrestling match. I can't. Start with a match, and especially, look, if you're going to start with a talky talk segment, make it short. Can we just get to the point? If you're going on 7, 8 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes, I'm losing my mind. You know? You know this. You know this about me now. No, there's no, oh, come on, Warren. Jason PS3, by the way, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. No. I'm consistent in this. The only time, like I said, last week, a pass because they've crowned a new champion. Great moment. People are tuning in to see Hangman do his, have his time in the sun. It's fantastic. I can get it. I'm like, okay. But it didn't last 20 minutes either. Oh, and then, hang on a second. Then this brilliant discourse. You want me to flip a table here? Here we go. This brilliant discourse after that, right? It's like, everyone getting mad that WWE is being referenced in AEW promos. Oh my God. Go figure that CM Punk, the guy whose modern superstardom is defined by the years that he spent in WWE as the Antichrist, right? As the guy who is literally the anti-WWE in WWE. He made his legend because of what happened there. God forbid the man would reference that time in his career. The time that actually made him into the holy grail of professional wrestlers that he is today. The mythical CM Punk that people were able to see Sasquatch. They had more Sasquatch sightings out there than there were CM Punk sightings. What the fuck are you talking about? That I can't believe he's talking about WWE. God, yes, I hope he does, and I hope he continues. It's part of his legacy. It's part of what he's done. Hope he talks about Ring of Honor, too. Hope eventually he ends up talking about the few times that he wrestled in Chikara as well. Just go, man, go. Talk about your past. Talk about it. Let MJF reference it. Let MJF do the digs at the history that you have with the company, the history that you have with Triple H, with Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Paul Levesque, whatever you want to call him, that CM Punk doesn't get along with him, or the John Cena nonsense as well. Let him dig at it, because you know what? It's part of the history. It's part of wrestling lore. And I said this before and I'll say it again. The great thing about AEW is that the lore of AEW is the lore of wrestling. They don't care where you come from. You know, it doesn't matter if you're from WWE, New Japan, Ring of Honor, or anywhere more obscure. Tokyo Joshi Pro, or Chaka Pro. They're going to reference it. They're going to talk about it, because that's what wrestling is. It's not this one company living in a bubble. Then suddenly the way that these people operate is the only way to do things. I'm convinced the only reason why they don't talk more about WWE on their television program is because they're afraid to get sued, because Vince's lawyers are high priced and there's many of them, and they just don't want to get sued. And I don't blame them to not want to do it more. And they should do it more. And you know what? WWE should do it. They absolutely should do it. Do you know why? Because it's fun. Because it's fun to have these companies take shots at each other. It's fun to see wrestlers referencing each other when they're not in the same company. It's fun. You know, fun. Y'all remember fun before you started getting all jaded and you're not supposed to do this. Who says you're not supposed to do this? They should absolutely bring it up. CM Punk's WWE stay, his era in WWE is public record. Everyone knows about it. Why wouldn't they dive headfirst into it? I say they didn't talk about it enough. They still haven't done enough jabs. They haven't dove hard enough at WWE through it. Keep going. Keep doing it. Let Bryan Danielson talk about WrestleMania. Do it. Let Drew McIntyre talk about Double or Nothing for some bizarre reason. Just do it. Do it. Stop being these weird. You're dorks. I'm sorry, but you're dorks. If you're sitting around going, CM Punk should keep WWE out of his mouth, it doesn't matter. What does it matter to you? I thought the digs were great. I want more of it. I'm starved for this kind of shit. It's been 20 years since we've had any real competition, some real barbs, people with a chip on their shoulder, for working for Vince, for being the only act in town. Why wouldn't they want to get rid of it? And they don't have to do it. Adam Cole hasn't done it. He hasn't done anything. He doesn't have to. That's their choice. But if they do decide to do it, go, man, go. And let AEW, they talk about all of wrestling. All of wrestling is AEW lore, as it should be. You know, Ric Flair this week, for good or ill, right? He's on his podcast, and he's talking about how WWE is burying his legacy, is erasing his legacy, right? And he's not wrong. Look, and I'm not defending him, but he's not wrong. Because WWE can do whatever the hell they want with their perception of professional wrestling history. We cannot. I've said this before, and I think it's a good opportunity to bring this back up again. We, as wrestling fans, cannot let WWE be in control of the history of professional wrestling, right? It doesn't make sense because WWE's mandate is not to protect, is not to preserve the history of wrestling. It's to make money. It's a corporation. It's to make money. That's what it's for. So it buys up all the tapes. They don't put all of the back catalog back on Peacock. They're sitting on it. Why? Because it doesn't make fiscal sense for them to do it. And I can understand that. But then it goes down the same path where, the women's evolution started with the divas, right? And then all of a sudden the women's evolution started with Trish and Lita. What about China? Oh, well, China was persona non grata for such a long time. Then all of a sudden, we've cooled things off with China and her legacy, so we can start talking about her again. We're not going to admit her into the Hall of Fame as a single person, but as part of DX, right? That works, right, folks? That works. It's they decide whatever history works for their current narrative. Just like right now, trust me, do not get blinded by their focus right now on, the ruthless aggression era and how great of an epoch it was in WWE, because it really wasn't. There were some great stars that came in, but it wasn't a great era in WWE wrestling. It really wasn't all that fantastic. They had some amazing stars, but there was a lot of shit going on nonetheless. And now suddenly it's like, we're talking less about the Attitude Era. Now it's the ruthless aggression. Why? Because they still have good working relationships with a lot of the older wrestlers who were around there at that time, like Edge, like John Cena. These are all guys who are still around and that can still pop in on occasion. So they're going to raise the ruthless aggression era and make it into this mythical thing. Try to make it into this mythical thing like the Attitude Era is in the eyes of many fans. So that when you start pulling out ruthless aggression era superstars, you'll be excited to see them, even though maybe, even though, yes, Carlito was very entertaining, was a very charismatic and had an entertaining, very unique gimmick, wasn't all that great of a wrestler. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. Like, there's some legends that came out of there. Brock, John Cena, Randy Orton, Edge. You can even argue Edge is a product of the Attitude Era. Batista. You know, it's like, it's not as if it's a complete shit era, but it's not this mythical moment of greatness of success that the Attitude Era was. For all of its faults, the Attitude Era was the golden goose. WWE had never been as successful as it was then, never has been since. Well, no, that's not right. No, it's more successful right now as far as making the bucks as it was in the Attitude Era, and that's wild to think. My point: the history of wrestling doesn't belong to a company. That's why when I hear people talk about people jumping over and saying, you shouldn't pay tribute. They shouldn't pay tribute to so and so because he was a WWE wrestler. No, just never mind that. Why wouldn't other wrestling companies pay tribute to Eddie Guerrero? Why wouldn't they? Eddie doesn't belong to a company. Eddie Guerrero was a wrestler. Belongs to the fans. Okay, and here we go. Then we get into Bear Country versus the Gun Club. Why is this happening on my television on Dynamite on a Wednesday night? Billy Gunn again and Colton. At least Darby Allin came out of the tunnel like a subway train. That was fantastic. Gonna end the poll here, by the way. That I had going, and most of the Mr. Warren Hayes show live viewers here have said that 73% actually gave the MJF CM Punk promo 4 stars, 20% gave it 3 stars, and 6% gave it 1 star. Really, really hated it. So overall, people liked it, and I get it, and I'm with y'all. Who had, seriously, raise show of hands, who had Dante Martin joining Team Taz? Who had that? I was not expecting that. That completely took me off guard. Dante Martin is in Team Taz now. So you know what I think this is going to lead to? You know what I think this is gradually going to lead to? And I see it in the chat. Not me. Of course not. No one saw that shit coming. I think this is leading into Darius Martin coming back and being like, hey, bro, come on over. What are you doing with these goofs? I'm your blood. Blood is thicker than water. We're bros. And they reformed Top Flight under the guidance of Lio Rush. And you know what? Fantastic angle. Get a great feud going. This is a really well done story so far. And it's simmering very well. I feel like Darius Martin is on the verge of returning. He's been out like for 60 years, I think, at this point. I think that's the story you tell here. You do the Team Taz thing a couple of weeks and Dante maybe doesn't quite fit in. Then Darius comes back. The brothers hug. Lio Rush is there, is like, yeah, let's do this. Then you start getting trios matches. Then you start getting the trios matches between Ricky Starks, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Hook. But yeah, that's a nice little story bump there. Was not expecting that. Ooh, I'm going long a bit tonight. I'm going to try and be concise here, because we do have a wonderful post show put together by Anakin, who is going to man the Mr. Warren Hayes show, post show for members only. Jamie Hayter lost to Thunder Rosa in the AEW TBS Championship Tournament quarterfinals. So here is another It's actually our first semifinal match that's set. Thunder Rosa advances. She's going to be facing Jade Cargill. Now, what a fucking great match this was. And I still stand by, this was match of the night for me. This fucking ruled. And they did everything right. This is two women who know how to fight, who both fought in Japan, in Stardom. And you could tell they were going hard. They were like, nah, man, let's just go. And they wrestled. They gave us a fight. And it was a good one. And it was stiff. It was well wrestled, physical as fuck. I didn't see anything that compared to this on that card. Nothing as intense, as brutal. Two fantastic performers. Two high quality, world class wrestlers putting on a hell of a show for you. Great. I called it. I said this match has the potential to be the match of the tournament. I haven't seen a better one so far. And I don't think there's going to be a better one. And they even did the body press thing, right? Where Thunder Rosa over the past couple of weeks in these matches that she's had with Jamie Hayter. See, you have to pay attention to this shit in AEW. She's doing body presses off of the top turnbuckle to the floor, and Jamie Hayter's just eating them. Maybe not the top turnbuckle, but the apron. Anyway, she's flying off the ring. And she's just, and you know what I'm talking about. Everyone's on Twitter going, oh no, poor Jamie Hayter. She took it so hard. I'm like, relax. She's a pro wrestler. Not only is she a pro wrestler, she wrestled Joshi style. She's fine. So they've been doing that spot, right? And Thunder Rosa goes and does it again. But what does Jamie Hayter do this time? She catches her. She's fucking ready for it. She said, nah, not this time, bitch. I loved it. I thought every part of this match had me on the edge of my seat. It started hard. It ended hard. Thunder Rosa gets the win. Moves on to fight Jamie Hayter. Let's talk about the tournament standings where we're at right now. First semifinal match is set. Thunder Rosa, as I said, is going to be facing Jade Cargill in the first semifinal block. Second semifinal block has Nyla Rose in it. And the winner of Chris Statlander versus Ruby Soho. I'm still sticking with my picks, and my picks are going well so far. I think Ruby Soho goes over Chris Statlander here because I think AEW sees a lot of value in another strong babyface like Ruby Soho. Chris won't lose a thing. Statlander, she's set. I think she's more bulletproof than Ruby Soho is. Ruby Soho, they kind of did the weird booking that I don't like. They being AEW, where they bring her in as a surprise, then immediately have her challenge for the world title and immediately have her lose. And I'm like, what does that bring to Ruby Soho? It doesn't help her. It doesn't. But a win over Chris Statlander, beloved pro wrestler Chris Statlander, should be a fun match. I'm excited to see it. These are two, again, high quality, top world class wrestling wrestlers is what I should call them for short. Less syllables. This has the potential to be a fantastic match. I just don't think it's going to be as good as Rosa and Hayter. But I mean, this is like saying, as I prefer, ice cream dipped in chocolate to ice cream. It's just like it becomes a question of personal preference and what your feeling is that day, I guess. But I mean, they might just surprise us all and just tear the house down and be like, wow, match of the year kind of thing. Anyway, I think Ruby Soho moves forward. Nyla Rose, big time heel. Ruby Soho moving forward. And I'm still sticking with Jade Cargill and Ruby Soho in the semifinals because I don't know how much they're planning on putting the title on Jade. I still think they are quite a bit. I don't know if that performance on Friday might have soured them on the idea of putting her in a position where she has to be at the top kind of thing. I don't know. Because as I said, if I'm Tony Khan and I'm booking this and I had Jade penciled in to win, I'm reconsidering. I'm reconsidering hardcore. We'll see. Because she'll be fine with Thunder Rosa, Jade being. Thunder Rosa is going to get the best fucking match out of her possible. She's going to look like $1 million. It's going to be good. And Ruby Soho, Nyla Rose? Sure, I'm down for that. That'll be great. American Dragon Bryan Danielson destroyed Colt Boom Boom Cabana in his hometown of Chicago. This was okay. You know, it's like Danielson beat him up hardcore. I want to talk about the post-match. Hangman Page comes out and you know, he's in full gear. And and now he's like, yeah, I don't have any excuses. I'm ready for a fight. What excuse do you have, Brian? And Danielson, you know, says, yeah, I'll fight you, but I'm not ready. You know, I just fought a match. What are you talking about? I said, well, look, they end up scrapping that. But here's something that came to mind. Here's something that just popped into my head as I was watching this. They, being AEW, they have to put Hangman in matches. They have to have him fight. Kind of like they did with Kenny. You know, put him in fights. Hangman just can't sit around and pop out and come in and be charming and, you know, sort of say, I want to fight, and then the heel doesn't want to fight. You have to, Hangman has this, you know, his promos are fine. He's a good promo worker, but that's not his strength. His strength is that baby face energy that he has when he's in the ring. They have to put him in matches and trios and tag teams. They have to put him in there so that they can continue heating him up as the champ, as a guy who can beat the piss out of other dudes without any problems. And they have to put him on a level where we feel he'll be able to compete with Bryan Danielson, because as it stands right now, everyone is like, Bryan Danielson is just tearing through everyone. I don't see how Hangman Page is going to beat him. That might be an interesting, that might seem like a good way to book it. But if you're not heating up your champion, people just won't be excited to see him if they're expecting a foregone conclusion, you know? So I'm just a little worried here. Just a tiny smidgen bit worried. A wee tiny bit. Like, he has the Dark Order, right? Just like Kenny had the Elite to do trios matches and whatnot. Hangman has his pals in the Dark Order. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's cycle through them. Let's do tag teams. Let's do trios. I'm hoping next week on Dynamite, Hangman Adam Page has a match. Doesn't have to be a singles match, but I hope he has a match. He needs to get out there, beat the piss out of some of the mid-carders, get the big pins, save John Silver from a near fall, that kind of bullshit. He's got to do hero shit. We need him to do cowboy shit. There you go. That's just what I'm worried about. And I'd be remiss if we didn't take a minute to talk about the main event and Cody Rhodes getting BOOS. God, I was talking with Matt Ritter from the Smacking It Raw podcast. Fantastic. The best wrestling podcast on Pornhub. I'm not even kidding. I was on it, fully dressed. And we were chatting, and Matt was saying Chicago is such a great wrestling fan town. It really is. It really is. They're so good. And I thought, Montreal isn't bad either. He's saying, yeah, you're right too. Montreal is right up there as well. And what was absolutely fantastic about this was how hostile the crowd got. And look, the belt thing is going to be the stuff of legend moving forward. And I'm really excited to see how Cody AEW how they are going to adjust moving forward here. And I don't think the plan was, I don't think the plan is / was for for Cody to turn heel. I'm kind of done with people just turn heel already. Is Cody a babyface? Has Cody ever truly been a babyface? And I kind of buy into this. And it doesn't matter. You know, it's kind of like people telling me, you know, it's like Daniel Bryan, his heel turn was so sudden. It wasn't sudden. Daniel Bryan hasn't turned, like, he's turned heel just because he's fighting baby faces now. Because Daniel Bryan has been using the same verbiage and the same expressions since he came into AEW. He's been saying, I'm coming in here to kick heads in. That's literally the first thing he said. He said, I'm not here to elevate other people. I'm here to fight. I'm here to kick people's head in. And he keeps saying that over and over and over again. Even when he was a babyface. He'd do the I have till 5 thing. And he's going to keep doing it. And he hasn't changed his wrestling style. He murdered Colt Cabana in the same way he murdered all of the other heels that he went through. The only difference here is that Tony Khan told him to go out there and make sure that people don't like you. So he just said shitty things towards the audience, but he's essentially the same guy. He's essentially the same dude, except now he's fighting a fan favorite. So now you're like, boo, you suck. But he's essentially the exact same guy. Except he's not fighting uber heel Kenny Omega. He's fighting super babyface Adam Page. I don't know what to tell you. Cody's a bit the same thing. Okay. He's perhaps perceived more as a babyface, or at least it's tried. But here's the thing. And this is where I think that because a lot of people say, you know, Cody doesn't have any self-awareness. Cody, I think he has more self-awareness than people give him credit for. Don't forget, this is a guy who does not come out from the babyface or the heel tunnels. He comes in from the middle, kind of like Malachi Black. That's something. Doesn't come out from the heel tunnel, doesn't come out from the face tunnel, straight down the middle. Just goes, that's it. That's all. That's where he goes. Now, here's what I'm thinking. Because we've all heard, if you've watched The Boys, the Amazon superhero show, you know you probably made the Homelander references by seeing Cody come out with his big red, white, and blue jacket that he debuted when he fought Anthony Ogogo all those months ago. It was like, oh my God, he's Homelander. Does he know what he's doing? And I'm thinking, yeah, he probably does know what he's doing. Because the thing here is that Homelander, in the show, in the comic, he presents himself as a paragon of virtue and American values, right? But in reality, he's an asshole. So if Cody is indeed cosplaying Homelander right now, I don't see a problem with how his character is going, and I think it's more subtle than anyone is letting on right now. I think he's putting on the red, white, and blue patriotic, I'm a good guy, I love my brother, I love my coach front, when in reality, he's a rich guy who grew up in a well-to-do family in Atlanta. And he's got a beautiful wife and he's got a huge mansion. He wears suits. He's not relatable. He wears suits all the time. How are you supposed to relate to Cody Rhodes? You don't relate to Cody Rhodes. He's the complete opposite of his dad. So if you accept this theory that Cody Rhodes is indeed Homelander, you know, sweet affable, accessible American, good old-fashioned American-looking guy. Will kiss the babies in front of the cameras, and then when the cameras are turned off, he'll eat the babies. Well, maybe not that much, but you know what I mean. I think you don't need to do anything with Cody Rhodes, because you're not supposed to cheer for Homelander. Fuck you, Homelander. You're a psychotic, genocidal son of a bitch. Got no values. Not saying Cody is psychotic or genocidal. Homelander is, but he's a fictional character. Whereas Cody Rhodes is a pro wrestler, and he treads that line between reality and not. That's what I think. I thought the belt thing was fantastic. And one last thing, I was watching this with Kristen. I was like, there, he's turning into John Cena. He's literally turning into John Cena. It's the ECW, t-shirt thing all over again, right? Kristen tells me, she says, John Cena was never really as hated as Cody Rhodes. I was like, there was a whole period where Cena, none of the smart fans could stand him. Kristen brought some good points in regards to Cody and, his own, she'd say, well, Cody sometimes when he gets onto social media, he's very, very dislikable. Whereas John Cena, there's always something likable about him, regardless of what his wrestling persona is. And you're not entirely wrong. Okay, maybe, some back and forth. But if we're talking about like straight in ring, stuff, I think he's going down a John Cena route. But instead of trying to fight it, I think he's going to embrace it, but maybe in a way we haven't seen before. Anyway, keep that in mind. I don't think we're that far off with the Homelander comparison. Because Cody's a geek. Don't forget that. He likes his comic books. He likes his nerd culture, right? I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Hey, you know what else I'm not surprised at is that this is the end of the weekly wrestling inspection. That ended abruptly, but hey, you know what didn't end abruptly? This show. And that's a good thing. I can't thank you all enough for popping in tonight. For a lot of you, like I said, Thanksgiving, hanging out. I feel I'm privileged. I really am. And I'm humbled every single time because my expectations are like, you know what, people aren't going to come and hang out with me tonight, but there you go. I mean, what goes to show, what the hell do I know, right? What the hell do I know? But I really appreciate all of you joining me this evening. I think we had a great time. We had a good time talking about wrestling. Remember, members, as I'm done here, we're jumping onto the post stream and our boy Anakin JMT special. The inmates are running the asylum. That's coming up in a few minutes. So if you're a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel, hey, there you go. We're good to go. I want to thank everyone for joining me tonight. Thank you so much. Hope you have a great rest of your Thanksgiving day, right? That's always a good thing. Whatever is left of it. And we'll see you next time.